Welcome back, guys. Ben here, and today a different video for the Last Caretaker. Today we're going to be walking through the early access roadmap and kind of just having a look at what is going to be on the horizon for the Last Caretaker, what the guys over at We Are Channel 37 are going to be cooking up, and basically just having a little look at what's to come. So we'll also be kind of going through some of the ideas that some people have kind of risen during the playthrough that we've done, as well as some of my own like personal things I'd like to see in the game, and some of those ideas as well. Probably just stuff like we'd be wishing for and might happen, might not. We'll have to see. Thought it'd be a good conversation kind of piece anyway. So a little bit different. If you are like here waiting for another episode of our Last Caretaker playthrough, then I'll still leave a link in the description below to the playlist where you can catch up on any episodes you've missed, and make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss the next episode, because yeah, we're going to be playing this one for a while, I think. So yeah, with that all said, sit back, relax, like, comment, subscribe, and let's jump straight into it. So as it says on the roadmap, and I'll put the roadmap on the screen now, and you can see this roadmap on the Steam page. That's probably the best place to go and grab it. You can see it there. And yeah, they said obviously the journey has only just begun. There's a vast world waiting to be explored and even more mysteries hidden. Throughout early access, we'll continue to add new features and adapt the game to our community's feedback. Our current focus is on fixing bugs, refining the UI, UX, and improving game balance. We're committed to making the Last Caretaker better together. So what they've got here is on the 18th of December, they're going to have their first update. That's the Thursday, and it's going to be the Last Human Christmas 2025. And it says here that we've got habitat node, questline, new modules and forklift, warehouse, caves, basketball game, night vision, and money trash. So lots to unpack in that first one, and this is the one that's coming up right in the next like couple of weeks, really. So looking forward to this. There is also meant to be a level cap coming with this as well, like the level cap being increased. Currently it's 25. Not sure if that will be like increased to 30, 35, 40. I think just remove it altogether, but I guess they don't want people getting too high a level to like outpace the content, maybe. So can understand that to some degree. But yeah, the habitat node quest lines, obviously the habitats are kind of like the water shanty town kind of things you see. Like they're kind of like shipping containers, and we've only been to a couple, I think. I think we've been to one and we've sailed past a couple. You can kind of tell they've got like habitat and then a random kind of number designation. Those are kind of where survivors presumably were posted before they've either perished or managed to escape. There's going to be a quest line around that as well. So the fact it's called the Last Human as well, so the Last Caretaker, the Last Human, are we going to see an actual human NPC, maybe a quest giver, maybe something that we've got to do there? Not sure. I myself haven't finished the current quests that are in the Last Caretaker, so at the moment in the game, so not sure how the current quests finish, so we'll have to see. The new modules, I'm curious what those will be. Those, I'm presuming, because they've used the words modules, they haven't used like blueprints or skills or enhancements. So the modules, I think, are when they're referring to modules, they're meaning the little slot things that you can slot onto the fabricator and you can slot onto the food processor. Things like they'll might double the time it takes but reduce the resources required, or they'll speed things up or give you the chance to get double items. I personally would like to see the modules just reworked completely. That's just me. I've tried them a little bit on the food processor and on the fabricator. I don't like them. They have limited use. Some of the higher tier ones are quite expensive to make as well, and I know we can get loads of resources and things. It's not necessarily an issue like that, but there's a bit more micromanagement than what I'd like to see with something like that. If I had my way, I like my kind of recommendation, or my preferred route would be that a bit like we've got with the enhancement, and maybe it could be an enhancement, maybe it is because the difficult thing here is you can make multiple food processors and multiple fabricators, but my initial kind of thing is that the upgrade should be on the machine itself, so you can somewhere, whether that's an enhancement or whether it's like a separate whole system where you can upgrade some of the stations. I would love to be able to see you being able to like upgrade, like you've got to build a lot of components and then upgrade that fabricator. And like I said, the question is whether does that affect all fabricators, or do you can have tier 1 fabricators and then you could have tier 2 fabricators and tier 3 fabricators. Same with the food processor. And then it just means that you've still got the investment of the resources, and it could even still be quite expensive. I'm not too fussed by that, but it's then a permanent thing, and you can just set it and you can be like, right, I want a tier 3 food processor here because that's where I'm going to do the most bulk of my kind of food production. But if I just want a tier 1 on the boat to just maybe making some stuff passively, then absolutely fine. And you can even scale like the power draw, how much resources they use and what their capabilities are as well. I don't necessarily think they should be locked behind you can only craft certain things at tier 1, 2, and 3. I think it should be like tier 1 could still craft everything. You don't have to engage in the system if you don't want to. But if you are looking for those efficiencies and you've got the resources, you can then basically spend those resources to get a bit more time back, essentially. I think that would be really cool. And maybe it even has a tree system where you could say, I want speed, or I want like less resources. Maybe you can't have both, and maybe you could then have, like, this complicates it further. I appreciate that, but you can then have like a tier 2 that is speedy but uses way more electricity and water, and then you've got a tier 2 which is super efficient, like barely uses any draw or anything like that, but is very slow, like maybe takes twice as long. I would love to see that, and I would actually just bin off the modules. I like it that there is something that you build and you can plug in and improve, but in its current system, I'm not the biggest fan personally. So that's just me. Anyway, the second bit of that long-winded bit was the forklift. And the forklift, I hope they respawn forklifts in when the update comes, because I've shredded a lot of my forklifts. I don't know about you, but that'd be quite cool because there are the pallets, and presumably we'll be able to get in the forklift, be able to put stuff on the pallets, get in the forklift, and be able to like lift stuff up and basically drive it back to the boat or wherever we want it to be when we're on certain platforms and things. It's going to be very useful. Spoilers. It's going to be very useful around like the Lazarus complex. It's going to be very useful around the Exodus station. Interesting to have like a drivable land vehicle. I think that's probably the first step, which is pretty cool. But I'm interested to see how it works. If anything, I probably would have rathered maybe just having like maybe a drone that could follow you around, that could carry some stuff for you. Maybe just a little robot companion that follows you. And again, if we're going to do stuff where it helps you carry things, having some form of AI companion would have been a cool option as well, but I appreciate much more complicated than having a drivable forklift. Obviously, warehouses and caves. Caves is interesting because obviously we haven't, at the moment anyway, haven't really come across any like structures or terrain that is above water. So are the caves going to be underwater caves in like the underwater sections, the bits where you can dive down underneath? Because we'll touch on it, but there is going to be a future update that's going to have more underwater locations. So that pressure enhancement is a skill, but I don't want to get the correct terminology because skills are separate. Skills are blueprints, basically. Enhancements are like your stats, I guess. Your pressure enhancement is probably going to be quite vital. But that said, I kind of see that's where caves are going to be. We're not going to, they're going to be underwater, and maybe something where you can then travel down into them, and maybe there'll be little moon pool areas where you can come up. Warehouses, I'm guessing that's just going to be a new POI and something that you can then explore and have probably like storage of various materials and things like that as well. And basketball game, I'm guessing they're just making the point where there has been like a hoop and some basketballs in a few different POIs. Presumably that will just, I even did that in one of my episodes. I threw the ball through the hoop. Maybe it creates a little mini game where it like just has a count. I think that would be very simple. Little kind of a thing to pass some time and check it out. And then the last thing on the kind of note for Last Human Christmas 2025, night vision and money trash. And it actually shows on the screen that you'll see now the Last Caretaker with almost little Sam Fisher-esque like free like night vision eyes, I guess you could say. Interesting because it's probably a little bit of a throwback or callback. Obviously a lot of the devs who work on Last Caretaker are from Ubisoft previously, and Ubisoft obviously made Splinter Cell, and I don't think it's any coincidence that those three things are in that. That's definitely going to be a nod to Splinter Cell. But yeah, I think that's interesting because I imagine that will be, would they make that more expensive than the lamp that you can have, the highest one? Because the plus side of the lamp is that it can actually kill the little sea slug critter things. The night vision probably wouldn't be able to do that. It's probably internal. Will it cause more power drain? Would it use less? And you might have a drawback then of, well, we can use night vision, but then we don't already have any defense against the sea slugs other than a weapon. Would that be a blueprint, like a skill that we unlock? Or will that be something that we unlock like as a meta progression in the game, like something that you actually find and get a meaningful upgrade? Or is it something that you can choose to spend your skill points in? Interesting. I'm not sure which one that would be yet. We haven't really had anything that really upgrades us ourselves as like a modular, especially because we're robotic. You could think maybe we could upgrade our arms or our legs, or we kind of can enhance our battery capacity and our strength and stuff like that. But to actually get like a new actual function and physical appearance on ourselves is pretty cool. And then money trash, I'm not sure if this is going to be something for future, but essentially we'll be able to just find money. So that's my understanding of it anyway. Whether that's teeing up something that there'll be like future traders, maybe this last human is going to be a trader and you'll be able to find money and give them money in exchange for stuff. I might be way off base here, and I'm kind of thinking, what does the guy need the money for? You know, what's he spending that on? But then also, what is, you know, what are they going to have that we're going to want? But that is all what's coming on December 18th that they've announced anyway. There might actually be more stuff that comes in that update, and no doubt more optimizations and bug fixes. So hopefully with each content patch, there'll be even more optimization, less bugs and things like that as well. But yeah, that's what's coming in December on the 18th. Then we've got at the beginning of 2026, and that's all it says, the beginning of 2026, Ocean, the final frontier. We're going to get a new vehicle. We're going to get a jet ski. There are also going to be storms and lightning rods. I've seen that mentioned in my comments a couple of times that people would have been asking for lightning rods. And that'd be interesting whether the lightning rods is there just to protect, like you put it on the boat and it's just there to, you need one to protect your boat from getting hit and damaged, or if there's going to be a form of, a little bit like a Stardew Valley, you can put a lightning rod down and you can collect it, like collect the energy from it. That would be intriguing if you could like hook it up and generate power from it. I imagine it's going to be more of a thing of like just to protect your boat. The jet ski is interesting because that's going to give us the option to basically, presumably we'll be able to have that somehow docked on our ship. That would be cool because it means that if you just need to like pop somewhere quickly, you can kind of park up centrally and then just jet ski off, or maybe just have a little jet ski around. I don't know. It does coincide with boat customization, so maybe that'll be part of it, that you'll be able to choose your layout of your boat, choose where the jet ski is stored and all that kind of stuff too. So boat customization is coming. They don't really go into what is in the boat customization, whether it's just cosmetic kind of painting and like colors and stuff like that, because it does have build decorations and more. That's what the other thing that they say here. Again, presumably just being able to build some kind of stuff that, you know, aesthetically makes your boat look cool. But will that be, you know, will we be able to put rails up? We'll be able to choose where we put our engines and things like that. I don't know. I imagine boat customization might be maybe choosing from a few different preset boat layouts. That would be cool. And then maybe being able to choose the color and being able to paint it. And maybe you need to spend resources to do that. Maybe you've got to go back to like a sanctuary, like the Sanctuary 37, you've got to go back to a dock to do that maybe. I don't think it would make sense to be able to just do that anywhere. Yeah, we'd have to see how they implement it and what they think of that. The other thing is fishing, net launcher, and sonar. So fishing, interesting. I wonder what fishing mini game that's going to be. And also, what fish are we going to like at the moment, there are no fish. There's none. There's the shark, and then there are the little sea slugs, and that's it in the water, really. So obviously, they're going to add fish. Will we be able to see fish normally when we're swimming? Will there be like an underwater ecosystem, or will it just be throw the rod into the water and you can fish? Will it be a mechanical kind of biomechanical fish? Or will it be a normal fish? That's my other question, because everything seems to be either mechanical or biomechanical. Like the shark is like a mixture of flesh and machine, or it seems so anyway. So very intriguing with that. It's not like we can eat fish. So the only thing I can think of is that the fish will be turned into food production or bio waste, so you can use it. You can maybe fish for fuel, for petrol. You can fish for food for your humans that you launch up into the rocket. But I'm literally just, like I said, none of this is scripted. I'm literally just thinking, I'm reading this properly for the first time as well, and just kind of spitballing first things that come to my head, really. The net launcher, again, probably to do with the fishing as well, because presumably that's going to be something that launches a net. Is that to catch, like, will we be able to like catch like one of the sweethearts, or catch a laser bob, or a roller boy or something like that? So again, there might be other stuff that comes with that update and coincides with the jet ski and things. Maybe they haven't really mentioned there'll be new areas or anything to explore, but it's giving us some stuff where, why do we need a jet ski? Not that I'm against it, but what is there to explore? Why would you take the jet ski anywhere rather than the boat? It's not like it's a small boat and a big boat. It's a big boat and a jet ski. And it's not like you can just go, like, you know what I mean? You're not going to leave your boat that far. You're not going to go far on the jet ski on your own, really, because you're just going to have to come back. So I'm wondering if there's going to be something else that we're going to have the jet ski to use for, the net launcher, the fishing as well, but interested. And the sonar, the last thing with that, presumably that's going to be a new module that maybe we can upgrade. Maybe it will just appear on the boat, but we'll be able to then see beneath us, probably in the boat kind of cabin bit. I don't know what that's called in ship terminology. Is it a cabin? I don't know. But where the helm is, we've got all those like gizmos and gadgets and things. Perhaps that's where the sonar will go, and we'll be able to see what's underneath, like where, maybe how deep some of the underwater sections are, maybe if there's anything of interest, and then you can go out and dive down and get it. That'd be pretty cool. So at the moment, unless you're at a POI, there doesn't really seem any reason to get in the water and go down it. Like I did touch on before, they are planning to add more underwater locations, so maybe the sonar is getting that ready for being able to go treasure hunting and deep sea diving and stuff like that when you spot something on your sonar. That'd be pretty cool. Early spring 2026. So the one we just talked about, Ocean, the Final Frontier, that's the beginning of 2026. So for me, that is January. We're going to have an update in December. We're going to have an update in January, perhaps. early spring 2026 kind of suggests to me like February to April as some time. Maybe even February and March, but they're not quite committing to that yet. And we're going to get another new vehicle. This is going to be the gyrocopter. This is one that I've seen like people mention a lot in my videos, is the want for a helicopter. So the gyrocopter, presumably it'll be something that is very expensive to run, probably can't go too far, but will maybe mean that you could park up at one location and you could gyrocopter over maybe 2 to 3 kilometers and then fly back. The problem they're going to have with this is how do they manage, like, if you run out of fuel, does it crash into the water? Do you have to build a new one? Is it repair it? Like do you repair it? Do you build one? Like, I've got questions with how it works on that side of things, but pretty cool different way of getting around. And it also means there's some puzzles where you need to figure out how to get in, you need to figure out how to get on the roof or climb up and stuff like that. And the gyrocopter would kind of remove that puzzle. You kind of can just get in your gyrocopter and fly up. So yeah, intrigued to see how they do that, but also how they balance it, because having that ability to explore from above removes some of the traversal and puzzles of exploration, I guess, that they've kind of created so far. So very intrigued. They are also adding rafts and steel cables. So I presume steel cables, like they regard pretty much like electrical cables, like fuel cables and things like that, to steel cables. Are they just going to be stronger, longer, have more throughput? Or are steel cables going to be like a new components for some building stuff? The rafts are pretty interesting though. So again, we're getting another option for a form of boat, not a jet ski, not the main boat, but a raft. And that's cool. My question would be, why would we use the raft? Again, like just to get an idea of what we'd be using it for. Why would we build it? Because again, it would have to be faster than our boat. But I guess a raft, you wouldn't need maybe fuel and stuff like that. You could use the wind, and maybe they'll use that with a sail and stuff like that. So again, intriguing to see how they do that. They said there's a new enemy type. I don't know if it's important they say enemy in quotation marks. So yeah, that'll be cool. I don't know if that would be like a final. It's worth noting this would be the first new enemy type. So current enemies we've currently seen all of them in our playthrough so far, or all of them that are on the Pico terminal, which is kind of like the codex. So this will be a new enemy type. And will it be a normal one that we'll start seeing around multiple POIs? Will it have its own kind of like nest thing, or will it be a bigger one, a bit like the roller boys and stuff? Or will it be another flying enemy, or maybe another ocean enemy? I feel like they probably need more ocean enemies, like another shark. Like, doesn't have to be a shark, but I mean as in like another underwater enemy that is there to make the underwater sections a little bit more on edge, I would say. The data cables are what the Pico terminal has. Like, it has a slot for it, but you don't have any cables to connect to it. Doesn't say what the data cable is going to do. I hope that it's a form of additional upgrades, or a way to respec your character and like undo all the skill points and re-add them in. I'm curious though. I'm curious what that will mean. Or maybe there'll be new stuff where you need to run a data cable from one Pico terminal to the next. So one from your ship and then one to the Pico terminal in the POI. And that will then download something and give you like extra access to something. I'm not too sure. And then it says contact with space. So obviously we're sending the rocket up and sending humans to space, so this will mean we'll be able to contact them. Maybe this will be where they request certain humans, like we need 2 doctors and a journalist on our next like rocket that you send up, and maybe you get bonus resources or like a bonus reward for fulfilling that. I think that would be pretty cool. So again, completely spitballing here. I have thinking up ideas on my on top of my head what it says here on the roadmap. So then we have below us, and that is the spring 2026 update. So, you know, would you say that's kind of March to May, maybe May 26, April 26? And this one is the one I kind of, when I saw it, I was kind of like looking forward to it the most from these first ones, really, is new underwater locations. And the picture kind of shows like a little bit like what's at the bottom of the Hall of Humanity, like a glass walkway. So maybe there'll be underwater facilities that you can access from beneath. Again, just to touch back on vehicles, jet ski, rafts, and gyrocopters, I would have liked to have seen a submarine, and maybe we would get a submarine in the future. Maybe they've got to do this stuff first, but yeah, I think these underwater locations will give some more things to do underwater, which would be really cool. Combat upgrades, they don't really say what that is, or whether that's going to be a case of like better weapon attachments, or because the next bit is new weapons and a shield. So will that be, do they mean shield as in like an actual shield and you can then melee, or will it be a shield like a Halo shield, like it recharges and kind of is an extra layer on top of your health so that you don't lose health straight away. Photo mode is going to come as well, which presumably will give you all the, like, you know, the free cam and being able to take your pictures and stuff like that. That'll be pretty cool. And new quests, so no real like elaboration on that, just new quests. So that's just a note that we're going to get the quest update. So we're going to get new quests for Christmas 2025, the beginning of 2026 and early spring 2026 do not mention anything about quests. And then they got New Horizons early summer 2026, and this kind of just says classified. It does on the picture, which I'll throw up on the screen. It has like classified and it's like blurred out, like what I'm guessing is an underwater thing, and you can see the boat is like approaching it. So maybe it's like a whale or a kraken like tentacle or something, you know what I mean? It could be anything, but maybe it's a big underwater enemy. The only reason I say that with like a fault line or like a thing like that is it says it emerges from the deep. So whale, kraken, something deeper like that, maybe a giant mega shark. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, it's just classified at the moment. They're not going to share any information about that. You'll be able to have decoy mines and VHS tapes. So decoy mines, presumably we can craft a mine and drop that, and will that attract, like, maybe that's a way to farm sharks and things, maybe that'll spawn enemies to you, because otherwise I don't really know why we'd want to make a decoy mine. And then VHS tapes, I guess just like the memories which unlock the lore in the Pico terminal. VHS tapes perhaps will be something that we'll be able to then process and watch and get a little bit more lore and backstory on the game. There'll be another new enemy type and there'll be more quests. So, and again, this is early summer, so this could be May, June, you know, on that side of things. So depends, people classify winter, spring, autumn and summer, or summer and autumn at like different time periods. So yeah, depends what period they're kind of running off of. But yeah, new enemy type, new quests. I'm presuming that new enemy type will be the emerges from the deep, like that new big enemy, whatever it would be. That's my speculation. It'll be quite interesting to watch this like a year from now and see how right or wrong I was about some of these predictions, and also if any of the ideas that we've kind of had with this were used or anything like that. So yeah. And then the final one is the future, and it just says New Frontiers, and then classified reveals its secrets. So something reveals its secrets, and then we're going to have a new enemy type, new quests, and more. So they're just going to kind of leave it like that, and no real talk there of when that would be. That's just the open kind of future, presumably from summer 26 onwards. New Frontiers also almost makes it sound like, would we be able to travel? Like, will it open up even more of the map, new POIs to explore? Just interesting. I imagine the New Frontiers will be an expansion of the map and maybe going to maybe a more densely populated sunken city, or maybe there's a bit of land out there and then we'll be able to see like a mountain in the distance with like an island or something. I don't know. What they don't kind of cover on any of this, when the 1.0 would be, which I know they're not going to say that now or anything, but when 1.0 would be, and presumably that would be probably around November to December 2026, if not later. And I imagine they'll have an updated roadmap by spring, summer with like everything new that's coming as well. But the other thing that isn't on the roadmap, which I hope it is, or it will be at some point, and again, along with 1.0, not only console release for our people that play on Xbox and PlayStation, they are currently missing out on a fantastic survival game, and I think it would be phenomenal on there. The big thing that it's missing that I would love to see, I've had so many comments on all the videos asking about if it has this or not, co-op, whether it's 2-player co-op, whether it's up to 4-player co-op. That would be very interesting. I would love it to be like a drop-in, drop-out co-op. Like it's a hard one. I'd love to have the option. I know it's being greedy. I'd love to have the option where you could just have your own world and you can have people drop in, drop out as they see fit. But I'd also quite like to have a persistent one where you can both earn the progression. You both, you're not missing out or anything like that. It's not host only or anything. So that would be pretty cool as well. But I think this game would be really cool with co-op. And I think it would have to, because of like technical like limitations, I guess. I would probably, even if this wasn't, I'd probably put this in anyway, that you can't go too far from each other. Like maybe there's like a 3-kilometer diameter you've got to stay within each other. So you can be on the same POI, but one of you can't take the ship and just sail off. I don't think having like you both having 2 big boats and being able to go wherever you want. Yeah, I don't know if that would be great or not. So yeah, that's kind of where the roadmap is for the Last Caretaker at the moment. Obviously, some of these were just like spitballing ideas and just interpretations of what they put here. They could be doing something completely different when it comes to it. Very intrigued with how this all goes though. I've been loving it so far and I've been yapping for a long time now. So with that all said, hope you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments below what things you like. Are there any of the ideas that I've said that you like or hate? Are there any of the things you like that you've seen on the roadmap today, or anything you'd like to see in the future, the future update that's going to come? What are some things you'd like to see? You know, we've talked about self-customization, we've talked about consoles, we've talked about 1.0, the release with hopefully co-op and stuff like that. But what's your like big wish list? I'm gonna throw in that I would really love two things that I think I request, probably mutter under my breath so much in every episode that you guys know what I'm gonna say already, for you guys who've been watching all the episodes so far. And that is, I'd love to have a grid, like a snappable grid that you can toggle, so you can free build if you want, like it is now. Left click, right click to like rotate, not a problem. But I'd love to be able to like toggle something and it just create a grid. You can then just 90-degree snap, like, and it can snap to it, because it's not just a case of rotating it 90 degrees or 45 degrees or whatever. When the boat's rocking and there's waves and stuff, there are people going back to Sanctuary, to the beginning area, because there's no waves there, to build in peace. Just to build it, get everything nice and tight and nice and in line. Just give us a grid. Just give us a grid so we don't need to do that. That'd be great. And the second thing, kind of linked, is being able to snap or like tie or pin, or however you want to call it, the cables, the wires, being able to like put them on the ceiling. At the moment, I use these splitters as anchors, basically, to like put them on the ceiling and then run them along the ceiling, run them around walls, run them along the floor. And that's kind of how I manage it. I would love to be able to just have an option, even if it costs like one bit of plastic or, you know, a piece of iron or something like that. And you could just put like a little, you know, when you run like a cable in a house, like an internet cable or something, you get those little nail things, and it's got like a little like hook, and it just like pins the wire to the skirting board of the house. I don't know if everyone calls those skirting boards. They probably use a lot of British words there and not. I don't know if they're called different things in other countries, but I don't know what they're called. But they're little hook things, wire hook things. Even something like simple like that, and it just clip to the boat, to the wall, wherever you are. I think that'd be awesome, because it would just tidy that up so much. So much. But anyway, that's enough of my wish list. I've just been bleating on about what I want. What do you guys want? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to check out my playthrough of the Last Caretaker as well. Hope you love it. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.